Welcome back to the Targetmasters Hangar. This is Mike, and happy Friday, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about something fun. Masterpiece Transformers that we still need. Now I'm going to go through this list. There's going to be a few replacement items in the beginning of the list. The rest are going to be items we do not have on a true Masterpiece scale, and if we do, they're just not big enough or good enough. And also, I'm going to do some really deep cuts just for fun, just to kind of test the waters out there. We'll talk about this and more coming up. Alright, so before we get into this list here, the way it's going to work is that you are going to put in the comments what you basically think we still need. If you agree with what I put on here, then put that in the comments. If there's something that I did not include that you think we need more than what I've included, put that in the comments. Down the road, maybe January, I'll make another video. I'm kind of on a roll with this. I did it with Master of the Universe Origins yesterday. We're doing this one today. So let's get into the first replacement, and it is Bumblebee. We need a Bumblebee. Now, I have to tell you, looking at these two, the one on the right looks way better, in my opinion, even with the jacked up feet and the gappiness in the sides and the weird backpack. I still think this is better for the character on the 2.0 than the 1.0, the 21 on the left and the 45 on the right. So, Takara did okay. But here's the thing, we need this replaced with the Fans Toys. See, Fans Toys, I think, has the right formula. So if you just look at their Cliff Jumper that's coming out, and what they call it, Parkour, and it's up for pre-order everywhere right now, more or less, and around the $100 price point, good deal, looks like it's going to be a good figure, but they've got the right recipe for the Bumblebee. We saw what they did with their Brawn and then their Outback. They did remold their Brawn into an Outback, so their Bumblebee will be the best, because this does look the best. And I have like 2 or 3 other third-party versions of a Cliff Jumper, but this one destroys them all. I also like that they're going with the sort of the toy look for the Autobot. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but you've got 3 other options to go with out there, like MMC, X-Transbots, Ace Toys, all of them that are going with real-world options. I like the toy look. I like that they did it with the one that Takara did for the 2.0. So this is the direction I want to go, and I want to see Bumblebee. Next on the list is Sideswipe. I've got to say, back when this came out, I did feel like it was a little too beefy and chunky, but I guess it was just the limits of the engineering at the time, or the engineering budget that they were going to put into this thing. So overall part count has increased drastically from this to MP39. If you look at the brothers next to each other, of course, with that, these figures nowadays have a much higher part count to achieve perfect looks in both modes. I know sometimes transformations can be frustrating. This is still a pretty simple transformation overall, but at the end of the day, we need a better one of these. Bad Cube made one. It was okay. I still don't really like the aesthetics. I do have their Red Alert one, but at the end of the day, I want to see this redone. Maybe an X-Transbots or a Fans Toys, even an MMC. I won't spend much time on this one because I've said it probably 100 times now, if not 1,000, that we need a better Ironhide and a better Ratchet. And yes, I know I can fix the side plates on mine and all that kind of stuff, but there's third-party ones out there that are a little bit better. But at the end of the day, we need a solid representation of this character that actually matches the cartoon. And you know what? I'm a little nervous because Takara has taken another shot at it with their main line, and I'm a little disappointed in the chunkiness of the lower legs. I've got this figure now. I haven't opened it yet, though. But what I've seen of it, I'm not highly impressed. It's a little better than the other one, but the previous version, although didn't look as G1, isn't as good. I just kind of look at what they do in the main line, because it's Takara's designs, for what they're thinking about going with their Masterpiece. Now getting into what we don't have in the Masterpiece, and none of this is a countdown. This is all just random, just ones that I feel. So if you agree, you agree. If you disagree, you disagree. Alicon. Now we do have one that was made by Impossible Toys, I believe. Back in the day, it was more of a Chug. That was back when third party was Chug and not Masterpiece. And we have a pretty good option right now that's going on with the Hasbro, and it's a good price. It looks good, but it's a bit small if you look at it in the grand scheme of things with the Masterpiece. But at the end of the day, like, how big do you scale these in your mind? So maybe you can just get away with the Hasbro one and move on down the road. Next up we have the Sharkticon, and so now there's the KO oversize of the Studio Series version. Studio Series version is great, but you know, if a Fans Toys did this, let's say Fans Toys made this, I think that we would see the difference. Even if X Transbots made it or MMC made it, we would see the difference from a studio series to a third-party masterpiece, making this thing with high-end paint, die-cast, better materials. It just would look so much better. All of the features and functions, the lack of gappiness. So, yeah, we need this. Next up, we need an upgraded Computron. Now, so the thing is, I don't really consider the Warbotron one as in the running for what's going on with combiners right now. This thing is, I don't know, is it 15 or 18 inches? I think the Warbotron was 15, but we got KO oversized Warbotron that was for a Bruticus, and it was 18. So it went from 15 to 18 inches, if my math is right on that. And they never did it with this. I don't know why, because I would have bought it. I definitely would have bought it, and it'd be the one on my shelf right now. But right now I have nothing on my shelf for this guy. And to me, he's too important to not exist, so we need him. And of course, we need him to look like the cartoon. Of course, that's what we want. Overall, I would like to see one of the companies tackle him. It doesn't really matter. I was kind of hoping DX9 would do it because, well, they're not doing anything. Well, technically, they're not doing anything at all. Now, I'm not going to spend the rest of this list talking about combiners because we probably could. We probably could go deep on combiners. All the ones out there, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, whatever. But Predaking, that's a G1 Predaking. Now, I have the Takara Titans one, or Hasbro, technically, Takara Titans version, and I love it. It's great. It looks fantastic. It's just too small. It's 18 inches. It's not, or 15, 18 inches, something along those lines. Not big enough for the modern scale. And of course, there's upgrade kits and this, that, and another. But we need a true one that matches this. Now, we've got to tell you, I'm highly impressed with Kang Toys. I've gotten to review it, put my hands on it, and they are super solid. What they're doing with the engineering of this thing to make this thing super solid in this mode is fantastic. But it's stylized, and I'm an Ultra G1er. I'm sorry. Not really sorry. I'm an Ultra G1er, so although I might get the rest of the components to finish it, this thing's going to be a huge beast. It's going to be awesome when it's done. 8 figures in total. Next on my list are the clones. Now, there's Autobot clones and Decepticon clones, and I think that this would be fantastic for any third-party company to tackle because you could have a massive level of reuse of parts. Now, they wouldn't be exactly the same, kind of just like what Hasbro recently redid them, and they're good, but a third party or even Takara could make them great. Now, the Autobot clones always look kind of goofy. I never really thought the Autobot ones were cool at all, but here's the thing. If third party did the third party treatment or masterpiece treatment, Fans Toys, X Transbots, even Takara, MMC, whatever, they would be really awesome, really cool. As a kid, I had Wingspan and Pounce, and I got to tell you that those were some of my favorite figures, and they came later in the wave. But you know, I was collecting Transformers for several years. I can't say that about very many toy lines. Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Star Wars are really the only ones I collected consecutively for multiple years. But Transformers did kind of had an obsession for it for so many years, and these came later, and I was so impressed with them when they came out. I'd actually like to see how a third-party company would take them on, and would they sell them separately or as a set? Those are some interesting questions, and what would be the price point? That'd be kind of fun. Next, we do need the Citybots, and here's the thing. I like what Hasbro did with the Titan class, but a true Citybot, and here's the way I see it. If you're a collector, you step up and get a Like Toys Metroplex. For me personally, my Like Toys Metroplex, I would get it. I would have no need to get any others. I wouldn't be getting anything to battle them or whatever. It would more or less be a giant display stand to display my figures on. But the Fans Toys one, that's kind of cool too. Down the road, maybe, but I don't think I have the space to have 6 of these things. So I think the way this would work with the price point, size, and scale, and all that kind of stuff, you'd get one, and probably not the rest. Now, some people have committed to saying they're going to buy them all, but we'll see if that really happens for anybody. But Citybots are definitely important. At least one company do each one. Not one company. I don't want Fans Toys to do all of them, or even Like Toys to do all of them. It'd be fun to get a different one from each company and see how they're different. So next up on the list are Duocons. This is the Battle Trap, and this is one of these kind of deep cuts. that sucked back in the day. This was a really sucky Transformer back in the day when we were kids, and we're like, what is the point of this? Hasbro came out and redid these and did a really good job. But in the Masterpiece scale, this would be something really awesome. More or less two figures in one, or one figure turning into two different alt modes, I guess you could say. But the idea behind this is pretty cool. This is a deep cut. Is there a market for this? Who knows? There might be, there might not be. We don't have it yet, but if a company did this, I actually kind of think Generation Toy would probably take a shot at it. So I think this would kind of top most people's lists, would be Brainstorm, Highbrow, finishing the Headmaster, at least the Autobot Headmasters, and getting the rest of the Headmasters knocked out. But with this, it looks like we're going to get them eventually from someone. So here's a couple things I got to say about this. First of all, I want them to look just like the cartoon, more or less, that kind of style. The ones that Hasbro did were extremely stylized. Some people say IDW, whatever, but I want them to look very G1, extremely G1, even if it's a detriment. And the thing is that I think the Make Toys version looks good. Sony at TM Reviews says that Make Toys has said they've committed to this. He was at one of the conventions and he talked to somebody from Make Toys. They said they are going to go forward with them, but that could be 3 years from now. The thing about Fans Toys coming out talking about doing Autobot Headmasters, they're starting with Chrome Dome. Now, I think that's because they're like, hey, we could make the ones that are missing and you could fill your shelf out, but that's too much for the fans. We have this ego we got to support, and we want to just trump everybody with a better figure. That's exactly why I think Fans Toys is coming out with Chrome Dome first, and not the guys that we need more. Come on, fan service would be, give us the ones we need more. But, Fans Toys, some of their shady tactics, and their shady tactic of Chrome Dome first is not fans first. So next on the list, Alpha Trion. Now I did get this. I know it's kind of shaky cam right here. I'm trying to keep it steady. But Alpha Trion from this set, the Hero is Born. It looks great. It looks good. But just getting this and putting it in here makes me realize how much we need an Alpha Trion in the Masterpiece scale. As good as this looks, and it fits okay, it is nowhere near as good as a true Masterpiece Alpha Trion. Next up, we got the Deluxe Insecticons, and so this is something that's rumored to be done by X-Transbots. X-Transbots had mentioned this in one of their Q&As. Somebody had a Q&A they posted, and I read through it, and one little blurb was, will you do the Deluxe Insecticons? And they said it's a priority or something that we're working on or something along those lines. So it hasn't actually been officially released. There's no pictures, there's no grayscale prototype, there's nothing. But I believe it will eventually get done by then. But till it's officially announced, it's on my we need list. So next up is another deep cut. Pretenders. Here's the thing. I counted on some sort of checklist 33 Pretenders. I might be wrong. I really don't know much about the Pretenders. I have probably 6 or 7 total. I don't have a lot of them. But I know there's a huge market of people out there that would like to see Pretenders made. And if we do Pretenders, how would they do it? Well, it used to be a shell, and there'd be a small Transformer inside, or whatever. But what Hasbro is doing, Takara, they're redoing this to where the outside shell, it looks like the outside shell, but it transforms into something different. Some sort of utility vehicle, whatever. That's cool. I'll be learning about this as they go. I'm curious how third party would do Pretenders. And I know I hear about it here and there from a lot of different people. They'd like to get Pretenders in the Masterpiece scale. So where are you on that? Would you like to see Pretenders? Is this something that you don't care about, but if they made it, you'd give it a shot? I'd like to know. Lastly, there are Targetmasters that we still need, like Trigger Happy. They're Targetmasters that I didn't know much about, but years ago, when they made it in Titan Returns line, I was like, this is one of the coolest toys ever. And got a spare for my kids. They were $10 at Walmart, and they were cheap and easy to get your hands on. There were just tons of them, floods of them. And I'd buy them for my kids, and my kids had fun playing with them. I had fun just watching them enjoy them. But at the end of the day, I had an appreciation for these figures, for the designs. And at the end of the day, I like these figures that are Targetmasters, but I never had them as a kid. I didn't know about them from the lore. Maybe they weren't even in the show. These probably will not be Fans Toys. There'll be another company that would have to make them, like an X-Transbots or an MMC or a Generation Toy or one of those things, but it'd be pretty cool to get them. So let me know what you think about this list. I'm curious what you want to see in the Masterpiece line. We're cannibalizing ourselves every day by getting another figure that we already own 2 of, or another version of, and we're getting stuff released that maybe people are passing on because it's not new. What new do you want to see? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hope you ever hang around.